More Call of Duty news. And Call of Duty Cold War, we already talked about that last week. That was a confirmed thing. The trailer was up. We actually praised the trailer for being fucking raw and real. It was a good trailer. It was whether they intended to or not when they first started making this game, whether they intended to or not, very timely, this trailer, in terms of like what is going on in the US right now as a political climate. A few days ago, they took down the trailers globally and re-uploaded them heavily edited, removing quite a bit of content. Most notably, they removed the segment that had footage of Tiananmen Square, which was after apparently some Chinese government pushback. So, and like I said here, not just overseas. So they didn't just remove that overseas. They removed that on the North American side. They removed that the European side. They took it down everywhere to remove that Tiananmen Square footage. And so, the irony of this, of course, is that if you remember the original trailer, I don't know if it's still in the new trailer that they put up. I haven't seen the re-released one in its entirety. The tagline for this game is "Know your history or be doomed to repeat it." And so the deep irony of taking the trailer down to remove Tiananmen Square footage while having the tagline "Know your history or be doomed to repeat it" is thick. You could cut that shit with a knife. Or in the case of Tiananmen Square, a series of tanks. The tweet that I made that was quoted about talking about this was just sums up my feelings. It was Bobby Kotick does his best to fillet the entire CCP in an effort to prove he's nobody's bitch.
What was that?
That was a loud thud. 1 second. I want to make sure Nan didn't, like, fall over or something.
Yeah.
1 sec.
Yeah. But while he is going upstairs to make sure all is well,
Never
hit
mind.
the like
Just
button.
Dad outside working on a door.
Oh, okay. That shit moved your camera.
Yeah, that was. Well, he's literally on the other side of this wall, so that's why. That's why. No, we're okay. So, I'm not surprised, but I'm just so tired of seeing this shit. Especially from Activision. Activision, as we talked about months ago, with the banning of that Hearthstone player, standing up for Hong Kong, that whole debacle. Activision can't suck enough Chinese government dick to keep them satisfied. And it's really sad to watch North American companies just take it in the ass for the sake of trying to work into a market and doing it with such important information. It'd be one thing to like, oh, they don't want blood or something like whatever the fuck. Okay, yeah, it's silly. But for China to be actively on a global scale, not just domestically anymore, trying to keep something like Tiananmen Square from the history books and trying to convince people it was like fucking Hitler never happened and the concentration camps were all a fucking lie. Like, trying to keep that information out, it's one thing for them to do that domestically. It's another thing when they seemingly have the power to mold how companies housed in other countries around the world, politically not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form, to join the bandwagon of removing Tiananmen Square from the fucking annals of publicly viewed history is just crazy to me. And what it makes me want to do, honestly, is just stop buying Activision games altogether. It's one thing people get concerned about, like, Tencent buying, like, portions of companies and stuff. That's never bothered me very much. Foreign companies buy interest and shit all the time. American companies do it too. Like, everyone, the world is a giant fucking interconnected thing globally as far as business goes. But when you start doing that shit, now I actually do want to just not buy your shit anymore. Because you're not just fucking with a consumer, now you're fucking with history, and like really important history, and aiding a government actively suppressing its people in ways that we just like are apparently so used to that we don't even fucking bother with it anymore. And sometimes it's hard to remember that China isn't just its fucking government. China is over 1 billion people. Normal ass people, most of which are not particularly wealthy. And so it's easy to just, because all we talk about is the Chinese government, where people have like the stigmatism or the stigma about stigma about Chinese culture and Chinese people, but that's not, like, the government is not the people. But we can't, like, if all it takes for us over here is to just not be such consumerism-laden shit with companies that are wanting to be in bed with the fucking government that's doing all that shit, not just for the money, but actively involved in suppressing history, then I don't fucking know. I gotta say, I'm probably not gonna buy another Activision game for a long while. I'm stepping away from it, and it will be the first time that I've ever done anything like that. I've never been one to, like, quote unquote boycott shit before.
So if they didn't put the video in there to begin with, to take it out, then you'd have been fine with it.
Yes, because that tells you what their motive is. If it had never been in there in the first place, that's different than them putting it in and then somebody coming over and going, no! And then going, okay, fine, yes, please, I'm sorry, let me kiss your boots. Publicly doing it. And then saying nothing about it. Zero. That's very telling.
What else are they going to say about it?
What else are they going to say about it? You don't do it in the first place.
Yeah, well,
fuck it. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't need the Chinese market. And if they needed the Chinese market, is it really at the cost of fucking joining them in erasing one of the worst tragedies in human fucking modern history? Really? That's it? That's the hill to die on? The answer's no. That was a rhetorical question. If they chose not to do it at all up front, that is significantly different than doing it and then publicly kissing the boots, which they've already done with that Hearthstone player.
Of course.
This is round 2.
Dude, they're in bed with China, man. The movie business is in bed with China. The video game business is in bed with China. You know, everybody's in bed with China.
And everyone's got a line, and this was my line.
Okay.
This was my line. They just don't get.
This isn't anything new. This has been going on forever.
Exactly, but everyone's got a line. That's like saying racism's been going on forever. Everyone's got a fucking line, bro. Everything, if you go to human history, lots of shit's been going on forever. But eventually it's got to fucking come to a stop. And like I said, it's one thing to take and want to work into a market and be actively there and like putting in, like the movie industry, putting in Chinese actors specifically to play to the Chinese market so they boost their fucking box office numbers, or doing Mulan the way they're doing it specifically to try and like be more popular in fucking China. That's one thing. But to actively, yeah,
there's a lot more that goes on than that.
I know there's more. I know there's more than that. But what I'm saying is that's
scenes get taken out.
Yes,
specifically for like movies. Yes,
that happens in Germany. I mean, there are multiple places that happens where that kind of stuff happens. And I'm not happy about that either. But when you're even doing it here in North America, where we can't even recognize that history in North America as a company, Because it's different than removing it for that one country versus removing it for the entire fucking world as a platform because China told you to. Do you understand the difference between those two things?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. That gives the Chinese government way more reach than they deserve or have any fucking right of having. I mean, they don't even have the right to do what they're doing anyway in their home country, technically, as far as I'm concerned, but at least it's their home country. But to have that reach globally to be able to shut that kind of shit down, that's now you're way past your fucking, you're out of your lane. You're driving into oncoming fucking traffic. That's a totally different animal. Those are two very different things. And so I can't support that shit. If you were just adjusting it for their market, that's fine. That's the reality is of getting into that market. But when they get to come to you and say, don't do this globally, and you bow to that shit, now that's a fucking problem, especially with something with the gravity of this. What China's doing with Hong Kong, what China's doing with the Tiananmen Square since the fucking event happened is insane and ludicrous. And companies should not be taking part in that kind of history-shaping bullshit on a global scale. You know, you can make an argument maybe for doing it within China, but not outside of that, especially not in North America. Fuck all of that shit. So, fuck Activision. Bobby Kotick can Bobby co-lick my dick. I'm out the game until they bring that back. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it is what it is. I'm not as passionate about this topic as you are, because I'm not playing Call of Duty for a fucking history lesson.
I'm gonna play me some Warzone because it's free 99. But I'm not giving them more money.
I'm playing Call of Duty to fucking figure out how bad the game is, or just go in there and have some mindless fun. The fact that a video is there or not, I'm not going back to school. I'm not trying to learn anything. I don't give a fuck what the game is. So, you know, for me, this just doesn't even move me in any way, shape, or form. And the reason why it doesn't move me is because this has just been going on. This type of shit happens all the time. China probably owns a massive stake in Activision. You know, it's just the reality. It's just the reality of business. They don't want to be portrayed in a certain way. And that's just business. That's just it. Is it wrong? Yeah, it is. There's all kinds of crazy, fucked up shit that goes on and censorship that happens. It doesn't just happen in China. It happens here. It happens here probably a lot more than people think. But at the end of the day, bro, the fact that they took out a video from a trailer or a game or anything means zero fucks to me, personally.
Okay. Fair ball.